For Little Suffolk Downs Racetrack in East Boston, today's 57th renewal of New England's richest race, the Massachusetts Handicap, is much more than a race. With Horse of the World, Cigar, it's now the second coming. Cigar, the 6-year-old thoroughbred with a 14-race win streak, is back from his triumph in Dubai to defend his Mascap title, and he's taken the Boston sports scene by storm. The city's 2 major newspapers have given Cigar top billing. There are prime-time television commercials, print ads, highway billboards, hats, buttons, and T-shirts. Cigar and his second coming in the Massachusetts Handicap is next, live on ESPN. Thrifty Car Rental, racing across America, presented by Visa. The Horse of the World, Cigar, is back. He's here at Suffolk Downs for his return to racing in the United States and to try for his second straight win in the historic Massachusetts Handicap. And look at the crowd on hand here this afternoon. Hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lake, and this is much more than a horse race here today. This is a major event, and that's because of one horse, Horse of the World, Cigar. Today he tries for his 15th consecutive win. Let's put his streak in perspective for you, show you some of the numbers. To this point, Cigar has won 14 races in a row at 8 tracks across the nation, 2 hemispheres. That includes, of course, the March 27th score of the $4 million Dubai World Cup, the United Arab Emirates. And in deference to the Horse of the World, well, Suffolk Downs has left no detail undone, as they had a police escort bringing him from the state line of Massachusetts onto the racetrack here. The big horse has arrived. Let's set the conditions of racing now for the 1996 Massachusetts Handicap. $250,000 guaranteed in the purse. It's a 1 1/8 thoroughbreds 3 and up. Many may wonder, why is Cigar here? Well, of course, first it fit his race schedule perfectly, but also because of a rather innovative bonus the management came up with here, offering upward $50,000 to $250,000 for those horses who win the Mascap, who've also won a series of graded stakes. Cigar, the only one who qualifies today for the $250,000 bonus. That, with a $150,000 winner's share, could give him $400,000 today and put him over $8 million in earnings. The first time a North American-based thoroughbred has ever accomplished that. Well, with more on Cigar and on the big event here in Boston, let's go to the paddock now to Bob Newmeyer and Dave Johnson.
Not just the back page, but the front page. Cigar, today's Boston Herald. Hey, you're a Boston native. What gives, Bob Newmeyer?
Reach back into that paper, Dave. Take a look at the baseball standings. The Red Sox are in the tank. The other pro teams have had lousy years. Boston sports fans looking for a superstar, and they have one today in Cigar. I've been coming to this East Boston Oval for about 30 years now. Most excitement I've been around since Riva Ridge back in 1973.
But it's billed as a race, which may turn into a procession later on. But let's take a look at the field for the Mascap 1996. 2 local horses, one of them Pro Lancer with Rudy Baez. 2 is Will Durain with John Basono. Cigar carrying 130 pounds, and his regular pilot, Jerry Bailey, breaking from post 3. Northern Ensign with Filiberto Leon. Personal Merit with Julio Pazua, and Hogan's Goat with Luis Rivera Jr. completes the field. You know, the one thing that has really captured the imagination of the sports fan, not necessarily interested in horse racing, is this idea of the winning streak. And everybody's eventually hoping that Cigar will break that streak, set by Citation at 16 in a row from 1948 through 1950.
Well, he's made a lot of beautiful music, and we're going to take a look at some of these hits that have zoomed to the top of the charts. This odyssey began in New York at Aqueduct in October of '94, then ventured south through Florida, north through Hot Springs, Arkansas, at Oaklawn, and even at the Pimlico Special in May.
And then here in the Mascap and to the West Coast in the prep races, and then the Breeders' Cup, and then this year the Donn, and then halfway around the world, he took the $4 million Dubai World Cup. Now, of those great hits, you must have a favorite.
Remember that song, California Dreamin' by the Mamas and the Papas? Well, they were dreaming in California at the Hollywood Gold Cup last year in July. So let's spin this CD and unleash Cigar. I remember picking up the Sunday LA Times that day. Not one public handicapper selected Cigar on top. Believe it or not, he was not even among the top 3 in the consensus. There you see him blowing the field to smithereens.
Well, that was a good cut, but my favorite cut of Cigar's greatest hits was last year at Belmont Park. And it was the Breeders' Cup Classic. $3 million the purse, and a field of 11, including challengers from all over the world. But it was, again, Cigar in front as they near the wire. And Jerry Bailey said over this track, which was labeled muddy, it was not exactly his favorite. But Cigar again to the winner's circle, extending that streak. Now, by nature, trainers are a worrying lot, and the last thing Billy Mott wants to hear this week is the word walkover. I guess his main concern is weight.
Well, trainers have to worry about something, so I guess that's the issue here. And as you can see by the weights assigned here for the Massachusetts Handicap, the spread is anywhere from 21 to 19 pounds. Now, Pro Lanzier's rider Rudy Baez tax 112, so he's 3 over. And Louis Rivera Jr., who will ride Hogan's Goat, tax 114, so he is 6 over. But let's face it, folks, if Cigar is defeated today in the Massachusetts Handicap, this will be a monumental upset in racing history. Weights or no weights.
Bob, one historical note, though. Citation's streak came to an end the first time that he was asked to carry 130 pounds. And that's the impost for Cigar this afternoon.
Well, the stars have arrived in the paddock for the Massachusetts Handicap, and waiting for them, Alan and Madeline Paulson, the owners of the great Cigar. We're glad you've joined us in Boston on a beautiful afternoon. The great racehorse Cigar attempts to continue his historic streak on ESPN. There, and a pull back to Suffolk Downs Racetrack, and here come the horses for the 1996 Massachusetts Handicap, and the big entourage is around the big horse, Cigar. We'll have much more coming up on the Mascap and on Cigar, of course. But first, let's jump ahead a week. Next Saturday, the 128th running of the Belmont Stakes, as we set in place the final jewel of this year's Triple Crown. And, of course, they'll be looking at the winner of the Preakness, Louis Quatorze, along with Cavalier, who lost that heartbreaking photo in the Kentucky Derby. Both expected to run. We had a chance to visit earlier at Belmont with Bobby Baffert, ask him about the Preakness, where Cavalier disappointed as a favorite and ran 4th. And now, Bobby, how's he taking to New York?
Well, the first couple of days were pretty rough. There was a heat wave going on here. It was like 98 degrees, and he'd vanned up here from Pimlico, so he was pretty wiped out along with myself. I mean, if there would have been a plane here, I would have gone home with both of them. But as the days progressed, after about 4 or 5 days, he started coming around. And Tuesday, I breathed him 5/8. I wanted to see how he handled the track, and he worked a minute 1, but he just floated over the track, and that's a big plus for him because if he likes the track, he really runs well. And then today, I just brought him back first day, and he is just full of himself, and now he's just in a great situation now.
Goosebumps here, excuse me, I was just looking over my shoulder. Cigar just went past, the crowd was cheering here, big entourage following the big horse. More on him later. But, you know, Dave, we're used to seeing a lot of the similar horses coming from the Derby to the Preakness, but we also look for new faces when it comes Belmont time.
Well, you know, Chris, the Preakness has a history of being won by a horse who raced in the Kentucky Derby, but the history of the Belmont gives hope to owners and trainers who are bringing fresh horses, fresh faces to the Triple Crown mix. I mean, who could ever forget Coastal slipping up on the inside rail and putting a stop to Spectacular Bid's Triple Crown in 1979. Well, next Saturday, expect to see some fresh faces in the third, final, and longest leg of the Triple Crown. Natural Selection, winner of the Illinois Derby, is expected to be there. Traffic Circle, a winner in Allowance Company recently. The hero of the Peter Pan, Jamie's First Punch. And the most interesting newcomer, My Flag. Winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies last year, My Flag is a definite starter as of today, and looking to become only the 3rd filly ever to win the Belmont Stakes. Looks like a great win next Saturday afternoon.
No one wants to win the Belmont more, I assure you, than New York-based trainer Nick Zito. It would complete his personal Triple Crown. 2-time Derby winner, this year winning the Preakness. Nick so badly would love to win at this home track with Louis Quatorze next Saturday. Well, let's take an update now of the Visa 3-year-old championship point standings heading to the Belmont Stakes. Unbridled Song, who will not run in the Belmont, is on top, with Cavalier close behind. Grindstone, of course, the Derby winner, retired now. Then it's Skip Away, Louis Quatorze, and Editor's Note. Next Saturday, the 128th Belmont Stakes. Right now, our focus back on the big horse, on Cigar. Let's go to Bob Newmeyer.
In horse racing, for one reason or another, people are quick to criticize. Trainer D. Wayne Lucas wins all the races because he has all the horses. Jockey Jerry Bailey wins all the time because he has the best mounts. Ridiculous, isn't it? Well, the knocks, if there are any, on Cigar today, the weight, 130 pounds, and his so-called arduous trip to Dubai. His trainer, Bill Mott.
Well, I think if I look at the Mascap and I look at the competition and I look at Cigar, I look what they've done, look what Cigar's done, obviously I can see who the best horse is. However, being a handicap, we are having to give 18, 19, 20, 21 pounds to the competition. Anytime you give away 20 pounds, it's a big factor. So he's going to have to run a good race in order to win.
And win is, of course, what Cigar does with unmatched consistency. And his latest victory in Dubai showed the trainer a different dimension.
I think the fact that a horse ran to him and looked him in the eye and he had enough guts to go ahead and reach down and pull it off. He had to find something that he's never had to find before. And generally, he was easing himself up the last 16th of a mile and winning with something left. And this time he had to reach down and find something that he never had to do before. And he had to battle and really gut it out, and he proved that he could do that. And that's something that we had never seen him do before because he never had to do it. But it was always nice to know that he had it in him.
Those trying to beat Cigar may be hoping the Dubai experience took something out of him. Belmont says not so.
Actually, since Cigar arrived from Dubai, which would have been on the 1st of April, he's really progressed more quickly than what we had anticipated, more quickly than I had even hoped. And that's one reason that we've made the decision to go to Boston and race. Now that race gives him over 60 days, and he's, you know, after 2 weeks being back in America, he started to come around. He put his weight back on. He was eating. Of course, the weather was nice and cool here, and he had a chance to, you know, feel like a fresh horse again. And he's actually doing very well at the moment.
So far, the fans here at Suffolk Downs and other wagering outlets across the country unfazed by the weight and the trip to Dubai. They have made him a prohibitive 1-9 favorite. If he wins, he'll pay $2.20. And there's a chance today, ladies and gentlemen, for what we call a minus win pool, where there'd be more money bet on Cigar, and the track would have to pay more than they take in. Right now, I'm looking at the board. He's been betting $100,000 to win out of $120,000 in the win pool. As of right now, there is a minus win pool on Cigar here at Suffolk Downs. Chris?
We are 25 minutes to post. 25 minutes to Cigar's next test in the Massachusetts Handicap. But you know, Cigar didn't start as a superstar. At one point, he was a regular guy. And throughout the program, we're going to take you back a bit to some of Cigar's earlier days. Cigar's previous life. He went to the winner's circle for the very first time on May 9th, 1993 as a 3-year-old at Hollywood Park. He won a maiden special in his second start.
But Cigar puts away Famous Fan and starts to draw clear. Golden Sloopy coming with a late run on the outside. Cigar is clear by 5 and finding more though. And Cigar, although Golden Sloopy catching, not quick enough. And Cigar goes on to a good win. Golden Sloopy second, Famous Fan tired to third.
Well, always in the spotlight is Cigar's jockey, the Hall of Famer, the winner of the Kentucky Derby this year, Jerry Bailey. We'll have more on him a bit later. Now let's go to Bob. Oh, Dave Johnson, I'm sorry. Dave has the Jerry Bailey story. David?
I do. Jerry Bailey has ridden Cigar in all but the very first race during this current winning streak, including last year's Breeders' Cup Classic. But don't forget, Jerry has also won 3 other Breeders' Cup Classics and 2 Kentucky Derbies. So with or without Cigar, Jerry Bailey has emerged as a true sports superstar. Growing up in Texas, Jerry Bailey had dreams like everyone else, but they were not necessarily the ones you might imagine.
I wanted to be a professional athlete, and I didn't have jockey in mind. Working around the track was a good way to make summer money, before school money, instead of a paper route or mowing lawns, something like that, which I did those too, but this was just a lot more intriguing. But I wanted to be a quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. I mean, that was my aspiration. Bart Starr was my idol.
Instead, Bailey wound up using his athletic abilities in another way, quarterbacking some of the world's best racehorses. His association with the racetrack began early, and his first professional victory came in New Mexico in 1974. That was followed by his first riding title a couple of years later. After some Midwestern success, Bailey moved his tack to New York and won the handicap Triple Crown with Fit to Fight in 1984. But Bailey says it was his Triple Crown race victories that made everybody notice.
I think so. What helped in '91 was I won the Preakness in Belmont, and the Triple Crown races really give you a national center of attention. Everybody really notices. But I think 2 years later in the Derby, that really put me on top. I think it gives a jockey something he really needs if he hasn't already reached national acclaim.
And the 1995 Eclipse Award winner is quick to point out what he considers his strongest suit.
I think patience is a strong point. I finish very well, I think. I have a great sense of pace, but I think just having patience really on a consistent day in and day out basis has helped me the most.
While Bailey would surely be at the top of the class anyway, his association with Cigar is very special.
Well, Cigar is an ongoing experience. I mean, this is, you want to always recapture those great moments. The Derby, you live to recapture that moment. Big races you do, but this is a thing that I can go out every day and feel the moment and look at the horse, which I try and do. I try and be a part of his life as much as I can because I know that I'll probably never see another one like him. And to me, it's history in the making, and I enjoy being a part of it.
But it took his wife, Susie, and son, Justin, to help this Hall of Fame jockey appreciate where he is.
I mean, I was a guy that would win a race and forget about it 5 minutes later, not even sometimes, and go by the barn and enjoy the celebration with the owners and trainers, and didn't think too much about it. But my wife has really taught me to enjoy the moment and appreciate what's going on around me at the time. And God knows I've had a lot of great moments since she has taught me to appreciate those. So that, I think, is a gift that she has given me.
There is the big horse Cigar, Jerry Bailey, the 5th jockey to ride this great thoroughbred. But even before Jerry Bailey rode him, most of the Cigar camp thought, well, he should be a grass horse. He had the grass pedigree, after all, a son of Palace Music out of a daughter of the great Seattle Slew, Solar Slew. So everybody just assumed that, well, he should love the grass. Well, he didn't. In fact, we're going to show you right now as we take a look back at, again, some of Cigar's past performances here. This is the only turf race Cigar ever won, the summer of 1993 at Del Mar.
They run for home, the Berkeley man trying to hang on, but Cigar has dead aim on him on the outside. Our motion granted between them. Cigar now puts his head in front from Our motion granted and the Berkeley man. And Cigar now takes the lead with 50 yards to run. And this big striding son of Palace Music draws away to win by 2.
You're looking at the biggest crowd to turn out for a race at Suffolk Downs. Well, since 1982, they've already estimated this crowd at more than 20,000. Belmont, Jerry Bailey in the paddock as they await the word for riders up. Right now, let's go, though, to Bob Newmeyer for his comments there.
Well, a touch of Hollywood here in the paddock with Bob Greenhut, who's the owner of one of the challengers of Cigar, Northern Ensign. And as a Hollywood producer, he's been responsible for such films as Arthur, Big, A League of Their Own, and giving the current climate in the film business is tackling Cigar with your horse a mission impossible.
Well, it's a very interesting comparison. I'd have to say it is a mission impossible, but, you know, we're happy to be here. We decided to come to this race not knowing whether Cigar would run in it or not. It's a nice opportunity for our horse, Cigar, notwithstanding. But, you know, just like, you know, seeing a great movie star or whatever, it's exciting, and I'm happy. I'm looking as much at Cigar as I am at my horse, so that's, you know, a tribute to the big guy, and I hope we run well here. You know, I think that Cigar is by far the best horse in the race, and, you know, but we'd be very happy just to run well.
You mentioned that racing is a little bit like the movie-making business. Tell us why.
I looked long and hard to find a business that was equally unscientific and totally crazy, and I found one in the horse business, and I enjoy it as much. I don't get to be as involved on a day-to-day basis as I am in film, but maybe perhaps someday. You're a free-running horse today, and I guess you'll be mixing it up on the lead with a couple of the locals, and racing is an unpredictable game, and even second money is a nice little number here at Suffolk Downs, and running second to a horse like Cigar would not be a bad mark on your horse's resume, would it? Not at all, and someday I'm sure I'll be proud to say we ran with him, and I hope we're close to being in a picture with him. We'll see what happens. All right, that's Bob Greenhut, who owns Northern Ensign. Chris?
We're coming up on 14 minutes to post. 14 minutes before Cigar tries for his 15th win in a row here at the Massachusetts Handicap. Right back with more after this. applause is for Joe Kelly, the bugler, but it could also be for Cigar as he makes his way to the racetrack here. We're at Suffolk Downs for the 57th Massachusetts Handicap, New England's richest and most famous race, and today featuring the world's most famous thoroughbred, Cigar. He has 5 challengers. Here are the odds, updated for you by Autotote. Prolanzir at 30, Wilderrain at 13. There is Cigar as he opened at 1-9, Northern Instant at 30, Personal Air at 21, Hogan's Goat is at 35-1. Let's go to Bob Newmeyer again in the paddock.
Quite a scene here, Chris, in the paddock with the fans here in Boston saluting Cigar. I was here in 1973 when Riva Ridge was here at the track, and you can see these fans with cameras and bunched up on each other's shoulders. Wacoit was a wonderful horse in the 80s that was owned by a couple of gentlemen from the North End and ridden by Chris McCarron. That was a big scene here at Suffolk Downs. Nothing even close to the scene here at the East Boston Oval this afternoon. Then you see the photographers with the still cameras on the racetrack as the mighty Cigar hits the oval here in East Boston in search of consecutive win number 15. Chris?
The horses have taken to the track. We're ready to present the field for the 1996 Massachusetts Handicap. The purse, $250,000 guaranteed. Let's introduce them to you. Prolanzir, the one-horse New England's champion, older horse of 1995, gets 21 pounds from Cigar, has won 2 of 4 starts this year. His rider, Rodolfo Baez, leading Suffolk Downs rider, 139 wins in the meet here. The 2-horse, the gelding Will to Reign. He's the veteran in the field at 8 years old, making his 75th trip to the post. He's a real speed horse. John Bissono, the rider. And you hear the applause in the background. It is for the horse of the world. Here he is, the great Cigar. And he looks to be a bit on the muscle there with the crowd cheering him. Number 1 ranked racehorse in the world, America's Horse of the Year. He won all 10 starts last year. Now the streak is 14. Looking to go over the $8 million market earnings today, Jerry Bailey, the Hall of Fame jockey, as usual in the irons. The 4 horses, Northern Instant. He's gotten a check in 5 of 7 starts this year in Allowance Company, honored by film producer Bob Greenhut, who you met earlier. But Alberto Leon is the jockey. The 5 is Personal Merit. He challenged Cigar last year, ran 4th, beaten almost 10 lengths, 0 for 6 since. But he's had 2 good seconds, the Grade 3 Widener and the Grade 2 Excelsior. Julio Pazua is the rider. Rounding out our field, the local horse with a great name. This is Hogan's Goat. Lightest weight in the field, assigned 108 pounds. His jock will do 114 today. That's Luis Rivera Jr. Never topped in the top 10 or close to it in the local standings for Rivera. Well, as you saw the field, we can tell you none of them have won their last start against Cigar, and none of them, of course, have, in fact, only one has even been in the graded race. So the question we pose to the locals here, why take on Cigar?
For us, we live in the area. We think the Suffolk management's done a great job of trying to bring the track back. We want to support racing in the area. We've been looking forward to this race, and we consider it an honor to be on the racetrack. And who knows? We're getting 19 pounds, the dreamer in you. You think maybe there's always an upset.
For young John Asimakopoulos, who runs one of Suffolk Downs' leading stables with his father, Charlie, there are sound business reasons to challenge Cigar.
Well, second money's real good, and the prestige of the race, and this is New England's biggest race, and so far this year, Prolanzir has been the top horse of New England, and we figured he deserved a shot.
But, of course, none of the equine challengers, including Prolanzir, are even aware of Cigar's credentials.
Well, of course, he doesn't know that, but, you know, we do, and realistically, we're hoping to run a big race and run second or third and get a good piece of the pot. And in horse racing, as you know, anything can happen. Many favorites that were never expected to lose have lost, and you can't win it unless you're in it, and that's the motto we've been going by this week.
Personal Merit tried Cigar in last year's Mascap and ran 4th, beaten almost 10 lengths. But owner Keith Brodkin knows anything can happen.
Sure, you got to think that as a dreamer. That's the only way to be in this business if you don't dream about those kind of things. Last year, I think he gave us 11 pounds. This year, he's giving us 19 pounds. We feel like our horse is better this year. Now, he may be better, too. I don't know. But we're anxious, competitive, to give it a shot and give it a run. What do we got to lose?
Well, you never diminish your opponents. Certainly the Cigar camp hasn't. Certainly we won't either, because if there's more than one horse, there's a horse race. Well, joining me now, the man who's led the revitalization of Suffolk Downs here, Lou Raffetto, the Executive Vice President of Racing. Wow, Lou, you've done it again. How did you do it? Get Cigar back for the second year. What impact has it had on this track and this community?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the Paulsons and Billy Mott for bringing the horse back here. Last year, I would say it was more fortuitous that we were fortunate enough to put together the right races and get him to come here. This year, it was a little bit more preparation than luck. We looked at the year last October, and we said, okay, if there was a chance that Cigar would be racing, we wanted to make sure that the pot would be decent enough for him. But if not, we wanted to put together a bonus system that would encourage other top horses to come. And the timing of everything, the money, the timing off the race in Dubai, together with their experience last year, seemed to work for us, and we were very fortunate to have it happen again.
Well, Lou, by the way, and John Morrissey went over to Dubai to take part in that World Cup. That had to be a factor as well. You know, this race, even before Cigar, had such a great history, though. Who better to bring it to us than the chairman of Suffolk Downs, fourth-generation horseman, Jim Mosley?
Well, Chris, it is one of the oldest, most prestigious races in this country, and it was started in 1935 when Top Row defeated Discovery. And then we had in 1937, Seabiscuit came here, to be followed in 1942 by Whirlaway. And he came here after winning the Triple Crown, and he was followed by one of the great handicap horses of all time, which was Stymie. But in all my years of racing, and I've been in it for over 40 years, I would say that today we're going to see one of the great race horses of this century, Cigar. And to have him here for the second year is going to be a privilege that enjoyed by all our fans and all of us here.
Well, Suffolk Downs, Lou, you also did a great job of hospitality. A great time again on the boat cruise to Boston Harbor last night.
Well, everybody enjoyed it so much last year. We thought we'd try it again, and we doubled our attendance. So obviously the word got out, and we did have a wonderful time, and it might have to become a yearly tradition for us.
There you see Billy and Tina Mott. Jerry Bailey arrived earlier, and it really was a very festive night here. Well, as we talked about with our buddy Chick Lang there, Cigar today goes for his 15th straight victory. I don't know if many people remember, I don't know if you do, the last time he lost, October 7th, 1994. Now, who would remember a date like that? Bob Newmeyer would.
Horse players never forget. It was Belmont Park. I was alive in a pick six with this mighty Cigar on the grass with Julie Crone up. The ticket called for 6 figures if Cigar had won that 8th featured race that day. But unfortunately on the grass, in the red, white, and blue silks under Julie Crone, Cigar could do no better than 3rd. I had to rip up my pick 6 ticket, and from then on, Cigar has ripped off this consecutive win skein on the dirt. Yes, folks, just another case of being at the funeral and not at the wedding. Oh, the horse players lament. We'll be back with more coverage in a moment.
Well, as the fans cheer, Cigar warming up in the background. He is held at 1-9. That is the lowest price a horse has been in the 57-year history of the Mascap. Remember, last year he went off at 1-5 and was the shortest price winner ever. All right, let's take a look at our current odds here. And, of course, Cigar is the feature at 1-9. While we don't try to beat him with a Bud long shot, Dave Johnson, though, has a different angle for you today for the long shot.
If this race were held in England today, you could wander into the betting ring and with a bookmaker bet this event as if Cigar weren't even in the field. Bar the favorite, bar Cigar, they'd say. Well, that's sort of the approach we'll take today, looking for a Budweiser long shot exacted. Okay, we'll concede the top spot in our cold exacta to Cigar. We can't beat him. That means we need a second horse to complete our ticket, and that's number 4, Northern Ensign. This New York-based 4-year-old has been in the money 5 of his last 6 starts. His stalking style suggests that he could stay away from a suicidal speed duel and have something left to pick up the pieces in Cigar's wake. So it's a Cigar, Northern Ensign, 3-4, Bud long shot, cold exacta.
Northern Ensign, the other part of that exacted, by the way. Oh, how nice is this at 25-1. Let's update the current odds now presented by Auto Tote here at the track. We told you the feature Cigar at 1-9. The second choice, Will Durain, is at a big 14. Personal Merit at 19. The Bud Long Shot, Northern Ensign at 25. Well, as they approach the post, as we see there's no time left before post time on the odds board. The assistant starters are at the starting gate at the 8th pole. You have to wonder what's going through jockey Jerry Bailey's mind. We asked him earlier his thoughts as he thinks about this race, being the prohibitive favorite, going against 5 horses that really you wouldn't think would be any threat at all to Cigar. Well, believe me, Jerry Bailey has a lot on his mind.
Well, I mean, I'll start with the beginning. A start, you know, you don't want the horse to stumble and grab a quarter and injure himself in any way. And I certainly don't want to get boxed in a position to where he can't show his true talent. I think that's my goal. Put him in a place where he can win, and from there it's up to Cigar. And if Cigar is anywhere near himself, I think he can win. I realize it's a lot of weight to carry, but and anything can happen in racing.
The 130 pounds, Jerry Bailey said, is the most he's ever carried on a racehorse. And in preparation for that, Jerry, a couple of months ago, designed a special saddle and pad of hard rubber that has made the saddle and pad weigh about 8 pounds, about 5 pounds more than usual. Now, Jerry will go 112 today, so he'll only have to add about 10 pounds of lead, and there it is, exactly 130 pounds. Cigar, the 9th mass cap starter in history to accept 130 pounds or more, and 31 years since any horse has carried that much weight in this race. Bob?
Well, the keys to victory this afternoon, presented by Thrifty for Cigar. Show up on time. As far as I'm concerned, that's the main key. But let's break it down. Leave the starting gate. Yeah, put the key in the ignition and leave with a clean break, as Jerry Bailey indicated before. And then, you know, stay out of traffic. Just keep them clear on the outside and then make that looping move on the far turn. Avoid a speed jam. There are some front-running types in here. Pro Lanzier, Will Terrain, Northern Ensign. I think Jerry will sit a comfortable 4th and then make his move and blow the field away. Chris?
Stakes and track record, one and the same, 147.3 for the mile at an 8 pier. Founding Boston, 1985. To the top of the stands now, and Dave Johnson to call the mass cap.
1 horse left. That's Hogan's Goat, the local campaigner with Luis Rivera Jr. Mile and an 8. Mass cap, all set. And they're off. And a perfect start. And toward the inside, Will Terrain along with Pro Lanzier going for the early lead. On the outside, Northern Ensign into 3rd position, and Cigar, the heavy favorite, 4th at this point, 4 from the lead. And the 2 trailers, Hogan's Gold on the outside and Personal Merit at the back of the pack. It's a dozen lengths from front to back. And the speed duel up front as they round the clubhouse turn here at Suffolk. It's Pro Lanzier on the inside, and on the outside now, Will Terrain. John Basono inches up on the outside to challenge. Will Terrain on the outside, Pro Lanzier at the rail. It's a gap of 5. Then comes Northern Ensign. The Bud Long Shot is 3rd at this point, and just to his flank on the outside, here comes Cigar. Jerry Bailey bringing him closer, taking over 3rd position as they race down the backstretch. And down the backstretch, the leaders on the inside, Pro Lanzier, Will Terrain on the outside, then a gap of 2, and the champ Cigar is right there and champing at the bit as they move past the half-mile pole. After that, it's Northern Ensign in 4th, and the trailers, Hogan's Goat and Personal Merit. As they round the far turn, and the fans start to cheer like crazy. On the front end, Cigar has taken command and is drawing clear. It's Cigar in front by 4 already. Pro Lanzier is in the 2nd spot. Then from the inside, it's Personal Merit. As the field turns for home, Cigar has about a 6-length head start at the 3/16th pole. The race looks like it's strictly for the place spot. Personal Merit is in the 2nd spot. An 1/8 of a mile to go. Jerry Bailey shaking him up just a little bit. It's Cigar in front, and down the stretch he comes on his way to his 15th straight victory. And let this racehorse burn in your memory. We won't see another like him in our lifetime. Personal Merit finishes 2nd in the mass cap.
Well, Cigar has earned the $150,000 first place check, the $400,000 bonus, and get this, in 2 races here at Suffolk Downs, Cigar has earned $1,050,000. In Citation's storied career, he won just over $1,080,000 in all of his races. The unofficial winner, Cigar, 1:49 and 3, 2 seconds off of the stakes and track time. Bob?
Well, the trademark Cigar move comes at the far turn. By this time, he has already blown past Prolanzier and Will Durain and effortlessly opens up 4 or 5, pursuing his personal merit in the yellow silks with Julio Pazua. But Jerry Bailey just hand-riding, well under control, no sweat, the easiest kind of win at 130 pounds for the incomparable Cigar. Chris?
Cigar becomes the 4th two-time winner of the Mass Cap, the first since Smart in 1965, and the first to win the Mass Cap, carrying 130 pounds since Whirlaway, 1942. Welcome back to Suffolk Downs in East Boston. The Massachusetts Handicap, the 57th running, is now history. And it belongs, as we all thought it would, to the horse of the world, Cigar, owned by Alan E. Paulson, bred by Alan Paulson in Maryland. Billy Mott, the winning trainer, Jerry Bailey, the winning rider. There are the stats on Cigar by Palace Music out of Seattle, Slew's daughter, Solar Slew, and foaled at Josh Pond's farm in Maryland. Our congratulations again to the Paulsons. And I know the folks at Country Life Farm are still celebrating in Maryland. Dave Johnson has a close-up look at a fantastic thoroughbred.
Does the word effortlessly mean anything to you? Well, watch this. Look at Jerry Bailey in our isolated view of Cigar here in the Mass Cap. He's pulling, he's tugging Jerry. He wants to run. Jerry doesn't want to go that fast on the backstretch. Passing Will Terrain in the white cap, passing Prolanzier in the blue cap. And watch this. Jerry switches his goggles, gets a new set for the ride home, wraps up on him again, and as they turn for home, there's nobody near him. Here is win number 15 in a row as Cigar wins it for the 2nd year in a row. Earnings now over $8 million, and he carried 130 pounds to this victory. Chris?
Jerry Bailey gets the winning flowers for the Massachusetts Handicap. Jim Mosley, John Hall to make the presentation. We'll be back with much more.
He comes to the winner's circle. And it's official. Carrying 130 pounds, Cigar pays $220. Big surprise. There was no show or place wagering, but the exacta, a 3-5 combination, worth $4.80. For the 3-5-1 trifecta, the payoff, $33.20. Let's check the watch and see on the Whitnour official times how it was accomplished. The quarter in 22 and 2 with the little speed duel not involving Cigar. The half in 45 and 4. And then on to 3/4 in 110 and 1. The final slower than he won it last year, 149 and 3. From top to bottom, it was Cigar and personal merit, Prolanzier, Hogan's Goat, Northern Ensign, and Will Terrain was 6th and last. Bob?
Well, I know that Jerry Bailey and Bill Mott, you've tackled tougher competition, but I know, Jerry, you're also a sports fan, and in this wonderful city of ours, we've had Bobby Orr and Kari Ostremski and Ted Williams and some wonderful athletes, and Cigar is one of those.
I think Cigar was pretty important in this town today, and deservedly so. This is a major accomplishment, and one more, and he's broke the record.
Billy, a comment from the starting gate. Any nerves at all as we take a look at the race? Again, you talked about the impost, 130 pounds, the possibility of some stuff, some byproducts of the Dubai trip.
Well, I mean, I think the horse was doing well. He came over here well. He's trained very well since he's been back from Dubai, and I think he looked like a real champ today. And after they broke and got around the first turn, I thought we were in good position. Jerry got to the outside of the 4-horse, and you could tell he was going to have a clear trip. And when he headed down the backside, you could tell it looked like he was going to be able to reel him in whenever he wanted to. And it was a good effort. He put in a good little run around the turn and showed us that he's back and that he was ready for more, and hopefully he's got another one in him after today.
I think you just pushed the button, Jerry.
I didn't actually push it. He kind of pushed it for me. The race, it was very fast the first part. I had a good suspicion that they were going to come back to me very quick. I mean, what can I say? He was superb. I mean, I spent more time slowing him down probably than I did asking him to really run.
Well, look at your feet are still up in the stirrups, and you really kind of got the brakes on here in a way, and now you're tackling Prolanzier to the lead, and And now I want to ask you if you're thinking about margin of victory, because let's face it, this is a handicap division. If you run off the screen and win by 20 lengths, maybe at Hollywood Park, the racing secretary says, hey, he wanted Suffolk Downs by 20. Let me put 134 pounds on Cigar. Does that enter your mind down the stretch?
Of course, it enters my mind. But I think that any secretary that really knows what's going on knows that this wasn't the best bunch. I mean, it's a nice group of horses, but it's not the best group in America, and he takes that in consideration when he assigns the weight. I want to say hello to my son, Justin. He's watching at home, and I promise him I would. Hi, Justin.
All right, Billy, one last question as you seek Cigar canter under the wire. Weight for the Hollywood Gold Cup. What's a fair number?
I try to not do the racing secretary's job. I don't want them to try to do my job, and they can do theirs, and I'll do mine, and hopefully it works out that way for both of us.
Next stop, June 30th, Hollywood Park, for the record and citation. Thank you, gentlemen. Now back to Chris Lincoln.
Coming up on ESPN, Thrifty Car Rental, racing across America, has been presented by Visa. Today's coverage of the Massachusetts Handicap from Suffolk Downs in East Boston, brought to you by Thrifty Car Rental, historically known for low rates. By Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. Budweiser, official sponsor of the 1996 Summer Olympic Games. This Bud's for you. By Doubletree Hotels and Guest Suites. Sweet dreams from Doubletree. And by Whitnauer Watches, the perfect balance of hand craftsmanship and advanced technology. Whitnauer, the watchmaker's watch. Ground transportation provided by Thrifty Car Rental. For reservations at over 1,100 locations worldwide, call Thrifty at 1-800-4CARS. Accommodations in Boston provided by the Logan Airport Ramada. The next time you travel, come to the Logan Airport Ramada. We will turn your business trip into a real pleasure. We're back with Alan Madeline Paulson, owners, breeders, Cigar. Alan, your reaction to how these people took to your horse, Cigar?
Well, I've never seen a crowd so with it. The thank yous, you just can't believe the thank yous we got for bringing them back here. And I think we made a wise choice, and Cigar again showed he's a champ.
Madeline, as you said, he's an ambassador.
He is. He's the world's racing ambassador, and we're very proud of him. And I thank Cigar for everything you've done for racing.
Alan, again, can thank you for having him part of ESPN. Congratulations on the greatest thoroughbred in the world.
Well, we're happy to be here, and we're happy he won. And I had a little scare there when they announced that citation didn't make it at 130 pounds.
No worry for Cigar today.
But Cigar did it.
All right, we'll be coming next to you from Atlantic City, where one of the great turf races from Atlantic City Race Course, the Caesars International. Hope you'll join us on June 22nd for that at 6 o'clock Eastern. For the people here in Boston, though, they can say, I was there. I was there the day Cigar won the Massachusetts Handicap.